So ideally, this is where we're at, right here. On our turn 1, turn 2, we have Comfey, Cram, Radiant Greninja, and a Comfey in the active. Hopefully you got one of these guys in your starting hand. You got 4 of them. Shouldn't be that hard, right? So you can go there. Maybe even Raikou. Raikou's a good one to start with as well. But this is how we donk, okay? Because what you want to do, you want to flower select with Comfey as much as possible until you get 4 in the lost zone, and you can attack with Cram, and hopefully you can hit. If you go second on the first turn, you can potentially just donk your opponent. So this guy is also very important, especially in the early game. Lets you put you're drawing 5 cards, and you're also getting 3 cards into your hand with 2 go to the lost zone. Very important early game card, helps establish that lost zone. So this is where we want to be at early game. Mid game can look a little different. It just really depends on what your opponent's playing. In this situation, we do still have Cram in the active. Cram is going to get knocked out. We're okay with that. We don't care. We're also hoping that by turn 2, turn 3, we have at least 7 cards in the lost zone. Important note, Radiant Greninja does bench damage. A lot of people forget that he does 90 damage to any 2 Pokemon. So mid-game, what we're trying to establish mid-game is we're trying to get Mirage Gate in our hand. We're trying to get to 10 cards in the lost zone, and hopefully no more, no less, so that we can start using Sableye late game. This is one of our late game attackers, but we know we're in the late game when we get to 10 cards in the lost zone, and we can kind of dictate the play. Our opponent is on the ropes once we have 10 cards in the lost zone, because this is hard to stop. Manaphy is also kind of optional, depends on what your opponent's playing. There's times where you don't need Manaphy on the bench. It just can go away. Now late game, we're swapping out Cram. Cram's knocked out. We've probably lost a Comfey by now. And we're set up with Dragonite in the active. We're also playing we've also probably played at least 1 Mirage Gate. Mirage Gate is your energy accelerator in this deck, which you find 2 basic energy cards and attach them any way you like. Most of the time, you're going here, here, and here with that card. So you could play 2 of those Mirage Gates and set some things up. With 2 Mirage Gates, you can get water, electric, and then you can also do psychic and water, and place those energies any way you like. Depending on what your opponent has up, we're going to be attaching those, of course, psychic, Sableye, but energy, these can go here or these can go here. Really depends on what your opponent has up. We're going to go here because guess what, Dragonite's in the active, these guys go up here. And then this is pretty much late game most of the time. You're still trying to get to this setup so that you can start knocking some stuff out. And you want to use Dragonite to take maybe two prize cards is where you want to be at there, because he starts doing bench damage and it gets bad. So you want to be careful with that. And then you want to use your Super Rod. You want to make sure you have this guy in hand sometimes also, because if you have energy that's discarded because of Radiant Greninja, Super Rod that back in, play the Mirage Gate. You want to make sure you're searching for your energy every time you use Mirage Gate, and you don't put too much in the lost zone. And if you enjoyed this style video, let me know. Leave a comment, subscribe, like. I enjoy talking about this kind of thing with everybody, and I think it's a ton of fun. And if you have any other decks that you want to see this kind of setup with, let me know. And thanks, have a good night.